everybody. Welcome to Build. I'm your host, Ricky Camilleri, and you loved our next guest on Nurse Jackie, a series of unfortunate events, and Modern Family. And now you can see Kevin Cahoon on what is my favorite show, Glow, where he plays Bobby Barnes, a drag performer looking for a break on the Vegas Strip. Let's take a look at season 3 of Glow.
Live from the Fantan Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada, it's Glow, the gorgeous ladies of wrestling!
So how's Vegas?
Black magic. 7, winner.
It's been nice, you know? Me being wrong about you hating Vegas.
Business is good. We've sold out for the next 2 weeks.
What do you think of Sandy?
She's the entertainment director.
Have a drink and play a little blackjack on us.
When we keep this up, then the three of us stand to make a lot of money here.
Maybe I can push the money into a pile the shape of my son.
Okay, well, I don't really know what to say to that.
I have a job. I have a boyfriend. And somehow I still feel lost.
Maybe you feel lost because you're holding yourself back.
I would like to extend Glow's contract until the end of the year.
It's stuck.
What the fuck is happening now?
God, I love opening nights.
This is everything we've ever wanted.
We can't grow in Bear for another 9 months.
I'm the only one who cares about keeping the show alive.
What do you want, Ruth?
I don't want to ruin what we have.
If it wasn't for Bash, then none of us would even be sitting here today.
You're happy, right?
We may never open a show in Las Vegas ever again. Just take a moment and appreciate what is right in front of you.
I'm gonna get us kicked out of every casino here before we leave.
This place can make you a little crazy. We're so lucky to all be here together.
Some things are worth fighting for.
Let me out. Just, I can't take it. Seriously. I'm gonna...
Sam,
I'm
come
taking
on,
the
we
stairs.
can
I'm
fit.
taking the stairs.
Everybody, please welcome from Glow, Kevin Cahoon. Let's hear it. Hi. Sir, congratulations on your wonderful performance, but also getting to be a part of what I said before is really my favorite show, I think, on TV or on streaming or whatever right now. There's no show that sort of has their cake and eats it at the same time, is able to be as funny, as tongue-in-cheek, while still packing a very smart emotional punch at the end of a number of episodes. I truly love this show. It's incredibly well done.
It really is. It's my favorite show too. So I lucked out.
They pay you.
I mean, I know, and not to say that, like they just pay me to be Bobby, but no, really, I was such a huge fan of the show for the first 2 seasons, and you know, Liz Flahive and Carly Mensch, who are the show creators, have created a show about women. And they are so steadfast in being truthful and honest about people who I feel like are disenfranchised from a mainstream. And they've just done a brilliant job of it. And Bobby is a perfect example of their work and giving a gay single father in 1986 a voice. It was just a thrill.
They're also so great at, while giving a voice to a disenfranchised group of people, never letting that be the only thing that the characters are about.
That's right.
Is very quickly tossed aside to talk about the interior lives of these characters and build them up and create more depth, which is something that I've always loved about the show. It never rests on simply just being about a good person or about whatever the trend is to talk about.
Right, absolutely. No, they invest in the characters, they invest in the story, they invest in the time and the place. And the season 3 takes place in Las Vegas, and the girls have started their show at the Fantan Hotel and Casino, and I play Bobby Barnes, who is a female impersonator in the lounge of the Fantan Hotel and Casino, and all Bobby wants to do is play the big room. He wants to be in the showroom, but because of homophobia at the time and other obstacles that are in his way, he's stuck in the lounge, even though he's doing 2 shows a night that are sold out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Selling out the 2 shows in the lounge.
That's
and
right.
Still not getting the big room, right?
Not getting the big room. It's really interesting. Drag as an art form has evolved in such a beautiful way and has become such a part of the mainstream. It's interesting to look back at 1986 and see the navigation that these artists sort of played in playing to a mainstream audience in Las Vegas. I did a lot of, when I got the job, I did a lot of YouTube surfing and searching and watched a lot of the acts, and a lot of talk shows like Sally Jesse Raphael and Donahue would have female impersonators on from Vegas. And they would ask them questions like, well, so what is this? And they would say, well, this is a uniform for me. If a cop is going to wear a uniform, this is the uniform that I wear to work. It was a very interesting navigation as to how open they could be about their lives.
It's such an interesting period of time for openness in the culture, in the sense that they would get performers would get a platform which would seemingly be a way to open up people's minds to them, but they were also being addressed oftentimes by, I think, hosts and by the platform itself as being somewhat antagonistic towards their way of life.
Absolutely.
Their way of life. I wouldn't necessarily say Sally Jesse Raphael is like that personally, but the show itself at that time necessitated her to sort of approach performers with that kind of attitude.
Sure, there was sort of a sideshow mentality to it. Right. So take a look at this. This is something foreign and dangerous, and
you can play the lounge and we can make fun of you.
Absolutely.
We'll go and make fun of you, but you can't play the big room
Right.
with the normal people.
That's right, exactly. So they really invest in that storyline, and they are fearless. The writers are fearless in exploring that. Isaac Oliver, who wrote the book Intimacy Idiot, is a writer on Glow, and he wrote episode 4, which is really the first introduction to Bobby Barnes. And he is such a vibrant, important voice in LGBT culture today. It was really wonderful to have him bring Bobby's voice to life.
Now, how did they choose the songs for Bob that you perform as Bobby? And
that was Isaac's idea. I'm not sure about the song in episode 9, which I really can't say much about.
Right,
but,
of course.
But that's a show tune. The other 2 songs were Liz and Carly and Isaac, who came up with those songs. And what's interesting too, sort of going back to what we were talking about before, is that these performers would be female impersonators. So I get to be Liza, Carol Channing, Barbara Streisand, and a little Evita Peron. And so they would come out as these iconic women, do a little of the voice, do a little of their song, and then as their act sort of progressed throughout the evening, it would fall away. And then it was their voice, their stories, other songs from other artists. It was almost as if dressing as these iconic women empowered them to be themselves, which is what I took away from watching their shows.
Way to get the people in the
door,
room,
but also as an artist, like, I'm going to go out as Liza and I'm going to do my Liza, but in 5 minutes I'm just going to be me, and I'm going to be riffing with the audience and telling what happened to me during the day. And I think it was really empowering for those.
There's a wonderful line that you have where you're talking to Sheila and you ask Sheila how long she's been dressed like a wolf, and she asks you how long you've been doing Barbara, and you say longer than she has.
That's right, absolutely.
How did you interpret what exactly that line kind of, what Bobby was saying there?
Well, because I think that Bobby gravitated towards Barbara, probably in the womb. And the minute he came out, that was his, mothership. He was, gravitating towards her. And, I think that's what Isaac was trying to put forth, is that these icons, these women of the time, were beacons of light for these young gay boys that, they were looking to be able to express themselves and be who they are. And these women were that. They were totally free as to who they were, and it was inspiring to them to, live in their own shoes.
You were on you did a few episodes of Nurse Jackie, right?
I did.
And Liz and Carly were executive producers there.
That's right.
Were they aware of you through those episodes, or is that just kind of happenstance that?
Yeah, they were. And Betty Gilpin was on Nurse Jackie, and we had scenes together in that as well. But I was in LA doing a production of The Tempest, and I got the audition for Glow, and they said it's tomorrow, and you need to come up with 3 female impersonations. I know.
What were they?
I did 5. I didn't do 3 because I thought I'm going to make them not be able to say no.
You already have 5?
No, I didn't at all. I went on YouTube and, first of all, I was thinking, what women sing low? Like, so I'm not sounding like, some person with this incredible high, alto range. So for the audition, I picked Carol Channing, Shirley MacLaine, Loretta Lynn, Cher, and Tammy Faye Baker. Because I thought it's 1986, so who were the women in the zeitgeist at the time? So I ran all around.
It was like a homophobic televangelist, right? Tammy Faye Baker? Am I getting that right?
Well, I mean, she was a huge champion of the LGBT community.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, she was after the fact. Once she left Jim Baker, then she was a huge champion. I met Tammy Faye Baker at the Barracuda Gay Bar in Chelsea here in New York City. It's a true story. She was doing PR for her documentary, The Eyes of Tammy Faye, which is one of the most brilliant things that you've ever seen. And she was there, and she was the greatest. Sweet, kind, lovely. I have a picture with her. So I ran around L.A. after I got out of Tempest rehearsal. It really was like a reality show. Like, your challenge is to come up with 5 female impersonations and do the Tempest at the same time. And it was Halloween, so I ran around all these Halloween shops, and I was like, well, this wig looks like Shirley MacLaine, and this one looks like, and I went through my friends' Halloween boxes in their closets and found a friend to help me make the tape. I did it. Another friend played the piano. I mean,
you did a self-tape for it.
I did a self-tape. Yeah. So it really was like, I was going to do everything I could. So your question about Liz and Carly, I think I was on their radar, but I know that I didn't get the job.
Based off of,
I had to really jump through the hoops. So,
and what was it like? You get some great scenes. I mean, you get some great scenes with really a number of the women of the cast, but primarily Betty and Gail.
Mm-hmm.
But what was it like working with Betty again?
Incredible. We had just a little time on Nurse Jackie, but I'm such a huge fan of hers and we have many mutual friends, and she is so beloved, and rightly so, that
she is such a fascinating actress. Like,
she's
I can't
incredible.
say it enough. Like, I have no idea what face she's gonna make, given whatever the scene is or the line is. She's always surprising to me when I watch how she handles a scene.
It's not what you think it's gonna be. I mean, she's always making another choice that is like, oh, that's where we're going. Yeah. Exactly. She's genius. She's genius. And Gail Rankin, who plays Sheila, we had done a production of Our Town at the Williamstown Theater Festival 10 years ago. We were in that. And so we were pals. And then Gina Davis is also this season. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, I am acting with Gina Davis. It really.
What is that like? Because Gina Davis is kind of. I mean, she's a legend. She's amazing.
She's a legend. And they're giving her the Jean Hersholt Humanitarian Award this year at the Academy Awards. And it makes perfect sense because she is the most elegant, graceful humanitarian you could ever want her to be. She really is. And I know a lot of people say, like, oh, they're wonderful. They were just fantastic. But she really is, like, she's the best. And our first days on the set were together. And it was a giant shot in episode 1, and it's the entire cast. So, hello, this is Gina. This is Kevin. Nice to meet you. Play the scene here. And I'm dressed as Barbra Streisand. So it was quite a nerve-wracking day, and we sort of commiserated on that.
You also have a couple great scenes with Chris Lowell, who is so great as Bash Howard. And what's so great about him also as Bash Howard is that he was never cast in any kind of part like this before. He was always cast as like a semi-serious, handsome leading man, which, he's a handsome leading man style, but no one knew he could really do comedy like this, which he injects so much comedy and pathos and humanity into
And
Bash.
humanity, yes. The episode in season 2, Outside the Pool, if you watch the show, where he's sitting at the edge of the pool and he's lost his loved one. I mean, that is just a heartbreaking episode. And then season 3, he's faced with a lot of different things that make him, really think about his life and where he's at in his life. And I was a huge fan of his before. I was just a huge fan of the show. So to get this job, it's like, the greatest gift I could have ever imagined.
Have you had that before where you were such a big fan of a show before you stepped foot on it that when you stepped foot on it, you were like, oh boy, this is nerve-wracking?
Yeah, what pops into my head is the original production of Hedwig and the Angry Inch that was off Broadway at the Jane Street Theater. I was doing The Lion King on Broadway at the time, and I went on my night off to see this show called Hedwig and the Angry Inch that everybody was talking about. And
when John Cameron Mitchell was in
John was doing it, yeah. And so I left that theater and I was just shook, and I thought, I have to be a part of this production. So I called my agents. My agent's like, they don't want to see you. They don't see you in this role. And I thought, well, I gotta take the bull by the horns. So I took my headshot to the casting office, which you're not supposed to do. Like, you're supposed to let an agent do this. And I put a Post-it note and I was like, please see for Hedwig. And I put it on the counter, and they eventually called me in, and I ended up doing one show a week for John originally. He would do 7 and I would do the 8th, and then I eventually took over and did it all around the world. But that was a show that I was completely obsessed with, knew I wanted to be a part, had to be a part. And
so was that your first experience of doing a version of drag? I wouldn't necessarily consider Hedwig a drag performer, but I mean, it's born out of a lot of that.
Well, she is a performer, so there was that aspect. And yeah, that was my first time to do a drag. Yeah, right. It feels weird to call it drag.
It does feel a little weird, but at the same time, I do think that while it's not specifically that, it is born out of a lot of those ideas.
Right, absolutely, and circumstance, and yeah.
Someone's rightfully going to take me to task for this.
No,
Okay.
No, absolutely. I think even John would say that, would agree, totally. So, yeah, that was the first time that I ever, donned a wig and put myself out there.
What was it? I mean, I want to ask again what it was like seeing something like Hedwig for the first time, because I remember when I saw Hedwig, the movie, that was my first experience of it in Massachusetts. It was at like a local art house theater, and I was 14 or 15, and it blew my mind. I just didn't know that you could make movies that transgressive, that they could be that hilarious and that sexy and weird, and it made me go watch John Waters and all these other incredible artists.
It opened a whole door.
Exactly.
Yes. No, I mean, it changed my life seeing that show. It really did. And being able to play that role completely changed my life. I can't imagine the person that I would be or the actor I would be had Hedwig not come into my life. And it's interesting, Hedwig sort of feels like the gift that keeps on giving, because Jen Houston, who is the casting director for Glow, went to see Hedwig over and over again and championed me for this role based on seeing Hedwig back in the day. And she sent me a sweet message last night saying, I went to Hedwig over and over in my 20s, and I'm so grateful, because I'm constantly thanking her, saying, thank you for this role. Thank you for this opportunity. What can I do to thank you? And she said, well, no, it's not the sweetest thing. Thank you for, doing Hedwig and being a part of that history. And it's really, there's magic around Hedwig and the Angry Inch.
Generally after the first 2 seasons of a show, new characters start getting introduced for like 1 season roles, or maybe they go on past that. But it's really only one new character that can kind of get all of the most juice of a season of a show. And I feel like you really got that in this. Gina is in it as well, but you're the character I think that really gets the most depth in terms of a new character on the show. Is that something that you were aware of while the scripts were coming in? No?
No, I mean, I knew it was extremely special, and I knew that I had never been given a role this rich before. To be able to sing, to be able to dance, to be able to do this Bobby Bourne stand-up, and then to have these scenes out of drag about his personal struggle and being a single father and what his life was like. I mean, it was just an embarrassment of riches. It really, really, really was. And I haven't seen the show yet, so I'm really excited to see what it is. Yeah, Friday. I'll see it.
This Friday.
Yeah, Friday.
I've seen the whole season twice. It's great, guys.
And that really is, I mean, you get the prize twice, and it's not even out. Like,
it happened to me with the last season as well.
It did.
I ended up watching it twice before it came out.
Yeah, I mean, it's a testament to Liz and Carly's taste and, vision and heart and soul and talent.
It is a fantastic show, but on top of that, it is also just incredibly watchable.
Right.
Like,
it
as
is.
silly as like as much as that doesn't sound like a compliment because it is so much better than being watchable. It
Right.
is also just watchable in the very easy way.
Yes.
It's just a delight to have on.
And what I love about it so much is that when you see the artwork and you see the world, you think, oh, this is going to be candy. Like, this is just going to be a glossy pink, piece of candy that it will be, and it's not. I mean, that's how subversive it is that you think it is, and then it sneaks in and says, oh, no, we're telling these stories about these real people. And
Exactly. But at the same time, it also still works as candy, too. Which is wonderful.
I know.
I think we have time for a couple questions from the audience. Who has a question? Hi.
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 I was wondering what the most memorable day on the set of Glow was.
Oh gosh, they were all memorable. I mean, it was like I was living a dream every day. You're walking. We shot sort of on a lot, and so you're walking, and I'm dressed as Liza Minnelli from Liza with a Z, and it's like an old Hollywood studio. Like, here come palm trees, here comes a camel, here comes people dressed as So that part felt like a dream. But to be Glow specific, there is episode 4 where I do Liza, and it's a big moment for Bobby. It's a big moment for Bash, and it's a big moment for, I think it, you remember that? Yeah, that was the most memorable day. And anything with Gina. I mean, it's Gina Davis. It's Gina Davis.
There was the moment that you were just talking about, though. That is I guess you would know if you haven't seen, but that becomes a montage of a number of characters living their lives as you're singing the song.
Yes, that's right. So it's really great. It's a really great sequence. It's a great, well, that's good. I mean, I have no doubt. I'm thrilled.
One more question.
Hi.
Hi.
I wanted to ask, who's your favorite person to have scenes with, or like the person you felt you had the most chemistry with?
Oh gosh, that's like such a Sophie's Choice question. It's so hard. I would say most of my scenes were with Gail, who plays Sheila, and Betty Gilpin and Gina were and Kate Nash. I can't. That's hard. There are so many. Kate Nash, and it's just they are all at the top of their game. All at the top of their art form, and to be able to even be in the room with these actors was the greatest thrill of all. Truly.
Everybody's locked in on the show, which is something that you can feel as a viewer watching it.
Yes. And, sometimes it's tricky to come into an existing show if you're doing a guest spot or a recurring, but this cast embraced me with all of their heart and soul, and they invited me to go out dancing. The first week we were there, they were like, we're going out dancing, and we want you to come.
The whole cast?
It was a good group. It was probably 9.
Where did you guys go dancing?
We went to Akbar in L.A. Do you know Akbar? It's in Silver Lake. And so we went there, and we closed the place down. Like, we danced the night away, and it was really, really, really fun. It was great.
Kevin, I love Glow. I love the new season. Congratulations on the part of Bobby. An incredible role to be a part of. It premieres this Friday on Netflix, right? Yeah, it does. Everybody give Kevin a huge round of applause for being here. Let's hear it.